The bees seem to be much more friendly. Yeah, we have stingers. I would be wearing gloves at home.
So I'd like to welcome everyone back to another episode of Behind the Hive. Today, May 1st, 2025, we have some guests joining us today from Ireland. We have a facility that we're putting together, and these are two of the key personnel. So I'll turn it over to you. Shane, if you'd like to say a few words, introduce yourself, and then Chris.
Yeah, so I'm Shane Curtin. I'm with NOD now with a year in Listowel, County Kerry, and we're starting to get established and upwards and onwards, and we're here to enjoy the bees today.
Chris Jury, I'm the business manager for NOD Apiary Products in Ireland. I've been with the company just over 6 months. This is my first time in a Canadian apiary, so looking forward to everything that happens today.
Can you tell us a bit more about your beekeeping background, Chris?
I come from a family of beekeepers. My maternal grandmother and my uncles were all beekeepers, so I was used to being around the apiary and the honey house as a child. But didn't actually get to the bees. And then when I moved to Ireland 8 years ago, I had to decide on a new hobby. It was either golf or beekeeping, and I chose beekeeping. So the rest is history, and here we are today.
Great. And also joining us today is Tom, and you may have seen Tom in videos in the past. He's our sales rep, covers off much of the world, from New Zealand and Australia and up into North America. So he's also helping with our launch in Europe as well. So it's great to have him, and of course you're now familiar with Hannah. It's the star of many of our videos.
Hi.
Unfortunately, the sunshine has left us behind, and it started to rain lightly, so we're going to do what we can. We're trying to unwrap the bees today. Being May, we can stop the incubation process that the enhanced incubation environment that the Bee Cozy wraps offer. So now we've been introduced, we're going to move into the yard and start pulling off the winter wraps. So if you're uncomfortable at all around bees, I suggest that your veils go up and we'll get started. Shane, would you like to come with me and we'll take a look at how we pull the wraps off? So under each cover, when we lift off the cover, what you will find is a winter wrap, but we just pick that off, give it a shake. As you can see, sometimes there's a few ants. And then it just goes into here. Would you like to try that, Hive? Okay, so just lay that on the ground right behind, so we sort of keep it all like that, yep. And then that goes in there. So very quick, and we just do the whole yard like that.
Okay, so now that we have our top insulation off and our outer covers removed, it's a fairly easy process then to just kind of slide and wiggle our Bee Cozy right off like that. Just excellent, just wonderful.
Here we are at the entrance of a colony, and you can see a bee still on his homeward journey with a load of pollen. When the insulated wraps were on, they were keeping it quite warm. But all the traffic since the pollen flow has started means that they're staining the entranceway with pollen that comes off their body hair and off their legs.
The biggest difference between what I've seen here today and what we'd normally see back in Ireland is we probably wouldn't populate an apiary with so many hives. Normally in an apiary in Ireland we normally go to 8 maximum, and also these are Langstroth and we normally use British Standard Nationals. So British Standard National is probably about 2/3 of the normal size of a brood box. The supers are probably about the same depth, but the brood boxes will be 2/3 of the size. We either put a feeder like an Ashforth Miller feeder on the top,
Okay, yeah.
or a little rapid feeder.
Okay.
We don't do central feeding like.
Don't do open feeding, okay.
Not yet.
Not yet, okay. Do you think that the Irish beekeeping community would be open to that, or do you think it would be more controversial?
The beekeepers I spoke to, when I spoke to David about open feeding and everything else, I went back, I said they use open feeding and everything else. And they were saying, oh, they think it encourages robbing. But then I talked to David, and David talks to me about the natural foraging of the bees and everything else. It makes complete sense.
Yeah, and robbing or interacting at an open feeder versus robbing out a dead out, which could be full of brood disease or full of whatever killed that hive, right? So it's attracting them to a central feed source as opposed to encouraging them to go and visit their dead out neighbors.
We have centralised water feeders for the bees. So Why not?
Why
Put
not?
sugar syrup in there as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So I think normally I would slide the winter wraps immediately into their storage bags. But because of the rain conditions, I'm just going to put them in the back of my trailer. And we were going to demonstrate treating with Formic Pro, but under these conditions, we're just going to close the hives up, and we'll have to do that for another video. And I would like to thank everyone for joining me on this rainy Thursday as we celebrate May, end of winter, and getting our bees ready for the season.